to my jeans to purse upcycle sew along. Today we will be marking the lining and we will be inserting a zippered pocket, inside pocket into the lining. Without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so today I have my scissors and I have the jeans that we're working on to turn into the purse. Yesterday we prepared the jeans, so we no longer have the crotch here and we don't have the crotch sticking out on the back either. We just have the jeans. And today we're going to do the lining, and this is a scrap piece of fabric that I had left over from another purse that I did. And what we're going to do is make the inside of the lining and also put a zippered pocket on the inside of the purse. So this is the right side of the fabric, and we need two pieces. So I'm just going to fold it in half. And the way we figure out how much fabric we need for the lining is we're going to take the purse, the pants that we're turning into a purse, just place it on top. You're going to need some seam allowance on the left and seam allowance on the right. Mine's not even. Okay, now it's even. So if you want a 1/2 inch seam allowance, make sure you have a 1/2 inch on both sides. And I do. So that's what I'm going to use. And also, since we're putting a recessed zipper in tomorrow, we want to make our lining sit under the waistband because the zipper is going to recess into the waistband area. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure my jeans beginning at the waistband down to the end. And the number that I have is 6.5, and I want a 1/2 inch seam allowance to 7 inches. So from the top of the fabric that I'm using to make my liner, I'm going to have 7 inches of fabric on this particular purse. So I'm going to mark that, and I'm marking it with a pencil at the moment because I have absolutely zero idea where my air soluble pen is, because one of my kids decided to play with it, I'm pretty sure. So I'm going to mark it with the ink pen so you guys can see what I'm doing. You wouldn't be able to see it with the pencil. And that's the line I'm going to cut on. That's what I need. So I'm cutting this, and then I'm going to cut the lining in half because we need 2 pieces for this project, not 1 piece folded in half. I'm going to put that away for tomorrow. Well, actually for a few minutes from now. And then I'm going to just cut on the fold, cut it in half. Okay? And we have a front half and a back half. We're going to be working on the back half of the fabric, so I'm going to put that away. And actually, I want to even this up a bit. Let me make sure I still have 1/2 inch seam allowance on both sides. And I do, so I'm going to go ahead and even that up a bit, and then when I get to the other side, I will make the ends match. So now what we want to do after we do this is we want to decide where exactly we want our zipper to be. And I like my zipper to be a little closer to the top, and I like it to be in the center. So for me to find the center of the fabric, just going to fold it in half. Gonna do a finger press just to find the center. And now I know the center is right here because that's where my fold is, and I know I want it to be a little bit farther down from the top. I need a 1/2 inch seam allowance to sew my zipper in. So I'm gonna go down 2 inches. So I want my zipper to be right there. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to mark how long our zipper is. So you're going to need your zipper now. What I did is I actually recycled a zipper from another pair of jeans that I did upcycle on, and that's what I'm going to use on this project. Okay, so I'm going to use this upcycled zipper that I got from another project, and I'm going to fold the zipper in half, put it on the center to see if it will fit in the purse, and it will. So what I'm going to do next is mark the welt. And the technical term, the correct term for a inside zipper pocket is welt pocket. And I do my welt pockets a little bit differently than other people do. I mark the welt on the outside. I'm going to show you the way that welt pockets are normally made. What you do is let me see, how long is my zipper? My zipper is 6 3/4 inches long. So, but I'm going to do 6 inches. So what you do is you find the center of where you want your zipper to be, and you mark it on the fabric, on the right side of the fabric, the entire length that you want your zipper. And then after that, you need to have, oh, my zipper is not marked evenly, so let me do that again. I marked it completely lopsided. Let's do that one more time. Okay, now this line here is my zipper line. So the next thing you're supposed to do after you mark the line, the length you want your zipper, you want to mark around that line your seam allowance. So I'm going to start on the sides, and I want 1/4 inch on both sides of the zipper. I do that on this side and on this side, and then I'm going to mark 1/4 inch around the welt. And this 1/4 inch that I'm marking is the sewing line. You sew on top of this, and traditionally what you would do is you would put interfacing on the, after you mark this, you're going to sew, iron interfacing around here to stabilize it. But I do it a little bit differently than most people do. What you're supposed to do next is take a really thin stabilizing fabric and you sew on the sewing lines only that we marked, which is these. And then you cut along the line where you want the zipper to go, and then you fold it through the other side. However, I don't do it like that. What I do is these markings that we made here, it only makes sense to me to take a heavier fabric and make those markings on the actual fabric, since we're sewing on the fabric anyway. So that's what I'm going to do. And then I don't have to put the stabilizer on the other side, because the stabilizer is already on the, it's going to stabilize from the thicker fabric. So I'm finger pressing to find the center of the thicker fabric, and I'm going to put that right in the center of where I want my zipper. And now I'm going to mark my zipper, and the fabric that I have is only 6 inches long, and my zipper is 6 3/4 inches, but I'm still going to make it work. So what I'm going to do is make my opening for my zipper 5.5 inches long, and then I'll just sharpen the zipper, which I have to do anyway because I used a upcycled zipper and I don't have the stops right here. So this is why that pin is there. to keep the actual zip pull from falling off, and I don't want to have to put it back on there. So I'm going to shorten the zipper. I'm going to just sew it to right here, and then the zipper, the opening for the zipper will be on the other side, and then I can take the pin out. So I'm going to, this is me marking, that's me marking where the zipper opening is. I'm doing just like I would do any other way. And now I'm marking these sewing lines, just like marking a really big buttonhole is what you're doing. Like if you've ever made a bound buttonhole, this is the same exact way you would mark off your buttonhole. Actually, a welt is a huge buttonhole. And then now I'm marking the long sewing lines. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to sew on these outside lines that I created for the zipper. So I'm going to sew from here to here, from here to here, and I'm going to have my corners here. You don't have to mark your corners, but I like to do it because it comes in handy when you get ready to cut open the middle, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Actually, let me zoom in so you guys can see what I'm talking about, because I know you probably cannot see that. This is the middle line that I marked where the zipper opening is going to go. This is the outside, and the long ends of the outside that we're going to actually sew on top of. So I'm sewing on top of this line, this line, this line, and this line, and that is going to attach the stabilizer to the actual back of the purse lining. And when we're done with that, this line in the middle here is where the zipper goes. So let me sew. I'm not going to put this on camera because all I'm doing is sewing a straight line here. I'm coming here and I'm counting the number of stitches from, I'm coming here and I'm counting the number of stitches from here to here. So I'm going to use my hand wheel to turn it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 stitches. And then I'm going to sew all the way down here to this other end. And I'm going to put the same number of stitches here as I did on this end. So if I put 6 stitches here, I'm going to put 6 stitches here. And the best, easiest way to do that is to actually manually turn your hand wheel when you get to here. So let me do that, and then when I come back, you'll see the next step. I'll be right back. Okay, now you can see that I have sewed all the way around the outside stitching lines. So what we're going to do now is actually cut this open, because this is where we're going to apply the zipper. So I'm going to fold it in half and carefully make sure that I make a small cut on that line so I can get my scissors in there. And we're cutting through both fabrics. We're cutting through the top, the lining fabric, as well as the fabric I just sewed on to be the stabilizer for the welt. And I'm not cutting all the way to the end because we need these lines that we drew here. We need those lines to form a triangle. We need that triangle to form there. So now I'm going to cut from this line all the way to the corner, but do not cut the thread. And I'm going to do the same thing here, from this line all the way to the corner. Do not cut the thread on all 4 sides. As close as you can get without cutting the thread is what you need to do. Let me get back on the camera so I can do it, and you guys can see. Be very careful with this. Do not cut the thread, because you need the thread there to make it all work. So I just cut those. Now I'm cutting this side. And I'm going to cut this little piece off here that is part of a seam for where the pants I upcycled this from. And now I have my opening. Put it on camera. Now I have my opening. What I'm going to do is take this and turn it into the opening to the other side. So you turn it in like this to the other side. And it's going to look something like this. Because I haven't ironed it down yet. So it looks like this for now. And what you want to do is turn it over and give it a good press. You want to press this down. And then when we come back, we're going to deal with these triangles. What you're going to do after we press it down is you're going to sew these triangles down. These tiny triangles, I'm going to sew them down to right here, because the triangles are what actually stabilize the zipper and keeps it all working properly. So on this side as well, there's a triangle. This tiny triangle, we're going to sew these triangles onto this. So when I come back, I'm going to have this completely pressed, and when it's pressed properly, you should not see any of this fabric on the front. So I'm going to go press it and sew down the triangles that I'm telling you about, and you can either be really careful and sew them down by machine, or you can sew the triangles down by hand. And remember, you're sewing the triangles onto this fabric here. You're not sewing them onto this fabric here. You're not sewing it onto this fabric. So once again, you sew those triangles down right here onto that. And you're going to do it on both sides. So let me go iron that down and come back, and then I'll show you guys the next step. Okay, now you can see that I have it ironed down flat, and this area right here is where I made the mark for the zipper at first, where it was too long. And honestly, I should have did this in the air soluble pen and it wouldn't have made a difference, but I did it in an ink pen, so it does make a difference. So what we're going to do now, we're going to take the zipper and position it underneath, just like this, the way we want it. And I want my zipper to be a little bit, my zipper is a little bit longer than where I want it to be, because I need to sew that opening close. And then all you do now is you pin the zipper in, and then you top stitch all the way around here, as close as you can get as possible to the zipper. And you're going to want to use your zipper foot to do this. You don't have to, but it would make it a lot easier if you did use your zipper foot. I think I may do a tutorial, a more in-depth tutorial on how to do this, and I will show you how to put in the zipper without the zipper foot, because it is possible. It's just easier to use the zipper foot. And when you pin this in, get close to the teeth as you possibly can without distorting the opening and without getting on top of the teeth, because if you get on top of the teeth of the zipper with your fabric, the zipper is going to get caught up in the fabric and it's not going to work properly. So get as close as you can to the zipper with the fabric, but not on top of the teeth, and without distorting your opening for your zipper. So now that I have my zipper pinned properly, probably not pinned properly, but it's pinned in there. So now that I have my zipper pinned inside the opening, the next thing I'm going to do is just do a top stitch through all thicknesses, all the way around. And what that's going to do is that's going to do A, sew the zipper into the fabric, into the lining, and B is going to connect the stabilizer to the actual lining of the fabric of the purse, and it will stabilize this opening from where the zipper is, so the zipper won't be too heavy and pull it down and have it sagging and all that stuff. So that's what that's going to do. And then when we come back, you'll understand why we need this extra here, because this is where we're going to put the pocket to the zipper. So let me go ahead and sew this in, and we're halfway done, actually 2/3 of the way done. Actually, not halfway, 2/3 of the way. I'll be right back. Okay, now I'm back, and now you can see my zipper is sewed into the lining. There we have it. And this is the other side, and this is where we're going to put the pocket. And what you want to do is get your fabric that you have left over that you're going to put the pocket with. Let me zoom out some so you guys can see what I'm doing. This is the liner. This is some more of that fabric I had left over. I'm going to make a pocket with this. Now, what I need to do is figure out how long I need my pocket to be. We're going to sew the top part of the pocket to this zipper tape here and the lining. And ideally, if I had a bigger piece of this fabric for the lining, I would have had some sticking out here and some sticking out at the top, and I would sew this to everything around it, but I don't. So what I'm going to do is sew the pocket liner to this zipper tape. So I need to know how much I need, so I'm going to bring it to the zipper tape here, and this is the bottom, and I need double this. This is the bottom of the lining, but I want my zippered pocket to stop right here, and I need a 1/2 inch seam allowance, so I'm going to come down 1/2 inch, and this is where I'm going to mark it. And this is the halfway mark. I need twice this. So what I'm going to do, so where I folded it at, I'm going to fold that in half, and actually I'm going to add a little bit more to it because I need to sew it to the other side, and that's where I'm going to cut it at. So let me get my scissors, and I'm going to cut it right here, and this is going to be the bag for the pocket. Okay, now all I'm going to do is you want this inside facing this way, because when you unzip your pocket, you want the right side facing the opening of the zipper. So you're going to sew that like this. So what I'm going to do is first, I'm going to turn it upside down. I'm going to take this part of the stabilizer and turn it this way, and I'm going to sew the wrong side of the pocket to the stabilizer like this. You see that? I have it once again, it's like this, and I'm going to turn the pocket like this and sew the wrong side of the stabilizer right here, just like that. And let me pin it in there so you can see what it's going to look like. Okay, we're going to imagine that this has been sewn. After you sew this, you're going to come back, take this part of the fabric, which you want, it's going to be sewn like this, and it's going to flip over like that. You're going to take this part of the fabric, this is the right side, you're going to sew that onto the top like this. So then after you do that, you're sewing the opening of the pocket closed, like this. And then your pocket will be complete, because when you turn it to the right side and you open it up, there's your pocket. You see that? So, and everything that's going on the inside, you want to finish off your seams whatever way you choose to do it. If you have a serger, you can do the serger. That's the very quick method. If you do not have a serger, I do have a video that shows several different ways on how to finish off the seams without using a serger, and the video is the link to the video is right there. So click right there on that link and you will find the video for that. And what I think I'm going to just go ahead and use a binding. I'm going to bind off. No, I'm going to use a zigzag stitch because it's on the inside of the purse. Nobody's going to see this. So I'm going to zigzag here, here, and here to finish off that seam after I sew it in. So let me go ahead and sew in the pocket. And I'll show you guys what it looks like when I'm done. So once again, because I'm not going to put this on the camera, because this video is already pretty long as it is, and I'm trying to save on time. So I'm not going to show you the actual sewing. However, I'm going to demonstrate it once again. First step is to take this stabilizer that we sewed in, flip it up. You're going to flip all of this down. Look, one more time. You're going to take this, flip all of this down this way, and flip this over, and you're going to sew the wrong side of the fabric to the wrong side of the stabilizer, like this. Then you're going to take the top of the other side of the stabilizer. You're going to make sure that the inside, the right side of the fabric is facing the zipper, and you're going to take the top, fold that in, and sew only on the stabilizer and the zipper tape. Do not sew on the actual lining of the purse. And then you're going to sew the sides closed and finish off the seams however way you want to finish off the seams. And you need to finish off the seams because you don't want your pocket to unravel this on the inside of the purse. Okay, I'm back, and I have sewn in the zipper and the pocket. Here is the back of the pocket. I sewed the top in, the bottom in, and I have the 3 sides sewn in. And this side, remember we folded it over. And all I have to do now is go back and finish the seams here. And when you open up, let me zoom in so you can see what I'm doing. When you open up the zipper pocket, if you made sure that the right side was facing the zipper, all you see when you open the zipper is the lining. And it works. See there? It works. So we have, there's the seam rippers that I just put in there right there. We have our lining complete for the back side. We have the zipper complete. Now all we have to do is come back tomorrow, and we're going to sew in the recessed zipper, and we will be putting the lining together, and we will be finishing off the inside of the shell of the purse, where we will also be putting in the gussets. So tomorrow when we come back, we will be putting in the recessed zipper, sewing the lining together, putting the gusset into the lining, and sewing the bottom of the skirt, well, not the skirt, the purse together, and putting the gussets into the skirt. And when we come back the next day, we'll be putting the handles in. We'll be making the handles actually. And I'm going to make these handles pretty small. I'm just using the legs of the pant. And they're going to be something like that. So they're going to be pretty small. So we're going to put the handles in, and we're going to sew the lining in, and we'll be done. So tomorrow we're going to be doing the bulk of the work. We'll be putting the recessed zipper in and sewing the lining together, putting the gussets in both. So I'll see you guys tomorrow.